Assalamu alaikum, I'm Aisha and you're watching Samaa News. Here are today's headlines. President Donald Trump has told the World Economic Forum in Davos that Europe is heading in the wrong direction, saying he wants the continent to succeed, but sees it drifting off course. Trump also said talks on Greenland would continue in Davos and called for immediate negotiations toward a deal to acquire the territory. He also made it clear that he would not use force in pursuing the Northern Ireland. Trump said only the United States was capable of securing Greenland and added that the push for talks had nothing to do with rare earths. After his Davos speech, President Trump told journalists that Venezuela's new leader, Delcy Rodriguez, is doing a very good job and that the United States was going to make a lot of money for Venezuela so that they could take care of Venezuelan people. Meanwhile, President Trump has warned Iran of massive retaliation if he is assassinated, saying the country would be blown up in response. In an interview, Trump said he had given firm instructions that any attack on him would lead to Iran being wiped out. He also criticised former President Joe Biden, saying earlier threats from Tehran should have been met with force. On the other hand, European lawmakers have suspended a trade agreement with the United States after President Trump threatened tariffs over his push to acquire Greenland. 8 European countries, including Denmark, France, Germany and the UK, face proposed tariffs starting at 10% in February. European leaders said the move undermines trade stability and paused the EU ratification process. China has rejected speculation that it will compete for influence in the West as a US bid to take control of Greenland threatens to reshape the power dynamics of a decades-old transatlantic security alliance. Asked if Beijing welcomed the chaos over Greenland, a spokesperson of the Chinese Foreign Ministry told a regular news briefing that Beijing has no intention of competing for influence with any country, nor would it ever do so. Trump has also threatened to rain trade tariffs on Europe if it resists his demand to acquire the Arctic island. A South Korean court has jailed former Prime Minister Han Duck-soo for 23 years on charges that included insurrection relating to ex-President Yoon Suk-yeol's declaration of martial law in December 2024. Han is the first former cabinet minister to be handed a ruling by a court on criminal charges directly related to martial law. A judge said the Seoul Central District Court found Han guilty because he was instrumental in setting up the outward appearance of a cabinet meeting that facilitated the declaration. Israeli occupation forces have killed at least 11 Palestinians in Gaza, including 2 boys and 3 journalists. Health officials said a vehicle carrying journalists in central Gaza were targeted in an airstrike. Separately, Israeli tank shelling east of Deir al-Balah killed 3 people, including a 10-year-old boy. 2 others, a 13-year-old boy and a woman, were killed in separate shooting incidents in Khan Yunis. The United Arab Emirates has accepted an invitation to join United States President Donald Trump's newly proposed Board of Peace, making Abu Dhabi one of the first governments to publicly endorse the initiative. The UAE Foreign Ministry said the Emirates stood ready to contribute actively to the mission of the Board of Peace, supporting greater cooperation, stability and prosperity for all, marking formal alignment with Washington's new conflict resolution effort. Meanwhile, Pakistan has announced joining President Trump's Board of Peace on Gaza. The Foreign Office said the country hopes the initiative leads to a permanent ceasefire, increased humanitarian aid, and Gaza's reconstruction. The announcement came as Pakistan's Army Chief, Field Marshal Asim Munir, arrived in Davos, where officials say he and Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif may meet Trump. Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan has discussed developments in Syria and Gaza with US counterpart Donald Trump in a telephone call, as Syria's Turkey-backed government announced a ceasefire with US-allied Kurdish forces after days of clashes. The Turkish presidency said in a statement, President Erdogan stated that Turkey was closely following developments in Syria, that Syria's unity, harmony, and territorial integrity were important for Turkey. Earlier, Trump said he had a very good call with Erdogan, without elaborating. Meanwhile, the US military says it has transferred 150 Islamic State detainees from a facility in Hasaka, Syria, to a secure location in Iraq. The move comes after the collapse of Kurdish-led forces in northeast Syria, raising concerns over prison security. Officials say up to 7,000 ISIS detainees could eventually be moved, with close coordination between US forces and the Iraqi government. India will withdraw its diplomats' families and dependents from Bangladesh in the face of security threats as tension rises ahead of a February 12th general election. Campaigning begins on Thursday for Bangladesh's election, which has sparked protests and counter-protests. An Indian official said India's withdrawal move was part of internal readjustments. The official pointed to Indian media reports of New Delhi's decision. It was not immediately clear when the families would return. Thousands of US workers and students march through cities and university campuses in opposition to the immigration policies of President Donald Trump. On the first anniversary of Trump's second term, protests sprang up across the country against his aggressive immigration crackdown that prompted outrage after federal agents dragged a US citizen from her car and shot her dead in Minneapolis in past weeks. Hundreds of protesters gathered in Washington and smaller cities like Asheville, North Carolina, where demonstrators marched through the downtown. An Indian Air Force training aircraft has crashed during a routine flight in Prayagraj, prompting immediate rescue and recovery operations. According to the Indian media, the aircraft developed a technical fault during a scheduled training mission, causing the pilot to lose control. The aircraft subsequently crashed into a nearby pond and was completely destroyed. Teams from the Indian Air Force, local administration, and emergency services rushed to the site and launched relief, search, and recovery operations. A commuter train has derailed after a containment wall fell on the track due to heavy rain near the Spanish city of Barcelona, killing the driver and seriously injuring 4 passengers. A fire brigade official said that 37 people had been injured, 4 of them seriously, and the driver had died. He said all passengers had been removed from the train. The accident occurred just 2 days after a high-speed train collision and derailment near Ademuz in the southern Córdoba province that killed 42 people. That's all for now. For more updates, visit www.samaa.tv. Thank you for watching Samaa News.